Once in a small village, there lived a young woman named Lami. Now Lami was a kind girl who did everything for her family. She worked hard every day on their farm. But despite this, there was an emptiness within her heart. No matter how hard she tried, she could never feel truly happy or fulfilled. Now, one evening, just as the sun was beginning its slow descent below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, casting long shadows across the village, a lone stranger walked into town. He was a quiet man. His clothes were simple and he carried nothing with him except an old walking stick. The people of the village paid him no mind. They thought he was just another beggar looking for food or money. To them, he seemed useless, and they ignored him, assuming he had nothing to offer. Meanwhile, Lami was returning home from the market, her arms laden with fresh vegetables. When she saw the stranger, instead of ignoring him like the others, she approached him with a warm smile. "Hello," she said, her voice echoing the kindness that resided in her heart. "Can I help you?" The stranger looked up at her, his eyes twinkling with an unknown depth. "Thank you for your kindness," he replied, his voice as soothing as the evening breeze. "And no, I'm just strolling through. I haven't eaten all day, though. Would you mind if I shared a meal with you?" Lami's smile widened. "Of course not," she said, extending an invitation to her home. Together, they made their way to Lami's house where she lived with her family. As they walked, the stranger's gaze swept over the village, taking in the sights and sounds with a quiet intensity. When they reached Lami's home, she ushered the stranger into her humble abode. Her family was initially surprised by the unexpected guest, but Lami's gentle insistence made them accept the stranger warmly. Lami served the best food she had to her guest. The stranger ate with a quiet grace, savoring each bite, and it wasn't just the food that he appreciated. He was equally grateful for the warmth and hospitality that emanated from Lami and her family. After the meal, as the night deepened and the stars began to twinkle above them, the stranger leaned back in his chair. "Thank you for your generosity," he said to Lami, his eyes holding a depth that seemed to go beyond her years. "It's rare to find such kindness in these times." "Oh, it was nothing," Lami replied, blushing slightly at his words. Yet something about the stranger's gaze and demeanor intrigued her. The stranger then shared stories of distant lands and mythical creatures, weaving tales that made Lami's heart soar. With each passing moment, she found herself drawn deeper into his narratives, her imagination running wild with images of faraway places. He spoke of magical forests, sparkling seas, and adventures that seemed like figments of his vivid imagination. Yet somehow his stories were so captivating that she felt as though she were right there experiencing it all with him. As the night wore on, the stranger's stories filled Lami's heart with a sense of wonder and excitement. For the first time in her life, she felt a spark of joy ignite within her. His tales were more than just stories. They were windows into different ways of thinking, different cultures, and different perceptions of the world. Each story left her with a lingering thought, a small lesson on life. At one point during his storytelling, the stranger paused, his eyes seeming to pierce through the darkness. "The greatest wealth, my child, is not measured in gold or jewels, but in the richness of one's character and the depth of their spirit." Lami pondered his words, realizing that her own life had been focused on material things, things that ultimately brought little lasting happiness. As the night drew to a close, the stranger stood up to leave. "Thank you for your kindness and for sharing your home with me," he said to Lami, his voice echoing with gratitude. "You have a beautiful home and an even more beautiful heart." Before leaving, he turned to Lami once more. "Remember, my child, that life is much like a river. Just as a river can be calm or wild, so too can life. But it is the obstacles and challenges we encounter that shape our character and determine our strength. Embrace the challenges, learn from them, and let them make you who you are meant to be. His words resonated deeply within Lami, planting seeds of wisdom that would later blossom into understanding. With that, the stranger disappeared into the darkness, leaving Lami and her family with a sense of mystery and a profound feeling of gratitude. In the days that followed, the people of the village couldn't stop talking about the mysterious stranger who had captivated their attention. However, as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of his enigmatic presence. Now, after the stranger's visit, Lami was no longer the same. His words echoed in her heart like a guiding light, illuminating a path she hadn't seen before. She started to view her life with new eyes, her spirit strengthened by the stranger's subtle lessons. Each morning when she woke up, she remembered the stranger's words about finding strength in challenges. This realization filled her with a newfound energy. She continued to work hard on the farm, but now there was a song in her heart. Even when the tasks were tough, she tackled them with a lighter step, her spirit unburdened by the weight of despair. The villagers noticed the change in Lami. They saw her radiant smile more often, and they were puzzled by this transformation. Lami, once known for her quiet diligence, was now full of life and laughter. Her spirit was a beacon of joy, drawing people towards her like moths to a flame. As weeks turned into months, the memory of the stranger faded for most of the villagers. They returned to their daily routines, their lives continuing in a predictable rhythm. However, for Lami, the impact of the stranger's visit was profound and everlasting. She often sat alone in the evenings, lost in thought, replaying the moments she had spent with the stranger. His words had become her mantra, guiding her through the complexities of life. She realized that the stranger had not been just a passerby. He had been a catalyst, an agent of change that had awakened her spirit. The stranger had unknowingly revealed to Lami a truth that had always been within her, waiting to be discovered. He had shown her the power of kindness, the magic of storytelling, and the strength that resided in her own heart. From that day forward, Lami's life took on a new meaning. She continued to live a simple life, but her perspective had shifted. She saw beauty in the mundane, joy in the everyday, and wisdom in the simplest of conversations. The stranger had been a blessing in her life, a reminder that even in the ordinary, there is magic if only we have the eyes to see it. Her life became a testament to the power of human connection and the enduring impact one person can have on another. Lami became a beacon of kindness and wisdom in her village, her spirit shining brightly for all to see. The people of the village, sensing Lami's inner peace, began to ask her the secret of her transformation. Lami, ever humble, would simply smile and say, "I found my river." They didn't understand her words, but they respected her privacy and marveled at the change in her. In time, Lami's light became a guiding star for the village, inspiring them to treat each other with more kindness and understanding. The stranger's legacy lived on, not just in Lami's life, but in the hearts of everyone he had touched, proving that even a brief encounter can leave an everlasting impact. And so the tale of Lami and the stranger who walked into her life became a legend in the village, a story whispered from generation to generation, reminding them that sometimes the most profound transformations come from the most unexpected sources.